Good morning, everybody. It is 11 minutes past 7 o'clock. Oh, you hear the car start up, so you know it's time to visit with our good friend, Ron the Car Guy from Westside Auto Pros. Welcome back to the program, everybody. Lou along with Michelle Brown in for Jackie this morning. And Ron, of course, temperature finally, in some folks' minds, turning on the cold side.
Finally.
Yeah. But in your case, that means your phone's probably ringing a little more often.
The phone has already been ringing this morning. Absolutely.
Yeah.
When it's the coldest it's been this year so far. I mean, we're in the mid-teens, and cars don't start, aren't doing what they should do.
Mm-hmm. And then you get a lot of questions, obviously, about this time
I
of year.
do.
We're going to address some of the more common ones, right?
Yep. I brought with me the top 3 questions that I usually hear when it gets cold this time of year, and the number one question is, do I need to let my car warm up in the morning?
People will start it and then let it run for a while.
Exactly. Or maybe they're running a little bit behind. They're trying to decide, should I just hop in a cold car and go, or should I be late for work? And the correct answer to that is, the car doesn't care.
Oh, it doesn't?
No,
I thought it was better
it's
for
a
it
machine.
to let it warm up a little.
And in today's cars, the technology that we have in oil and the technology that's in the cars, that car is designed to start up, be put in gear, and go at 0 degrees without an issue. The car doesn't care.
Back in the day, I'm sure it'd be a good idea, because there probably was 1 or 2 grades of oil that you use, for example.
Yep, we had the thick 10W40. I mean, we're all the way down to like 0W14 right now in some cars. And
0W14?
Yeah.
That must be like water, or like maple syrup.
It pours like water, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. So the car doesn't care.
Okay.
But you
the driver
care.
might.
Exactly.
I want it to be warm when I get in there.
Exactly. And so the safety things that we have to look at are, I mean, you want to make sure that the windows are clear, so maybe the car sat outside and there's frost on the windows or something like that. We got to get it warmed up a little bit so the defroster blows out some heat and stuff like that. And then, of course, you're cold. You're in there shivering away. One of the greatest inventions that I've seen in the last 10 years is the heated steering wheel. I think those are just awesome. Your hands are all warm and stuff. Oh, I love heated steering wheels. But
we discovered one of those on accident. We were driving a car around and we hit a button and the steering wheel started getting warm.
Yeah. Exactly. So anyway, it's more up to you, than it is the car. So don't worry about the car, but you do want to worry about you. You need to be comfortable so you're alert and pay attention what's going on, and then also, of course, the safety aspect, having the windows and stuff clear.
You see those people driving that are like, they have this much space, and you can tell, they were in a hurry.
Now, with that said, usually a 5 to 10 minute warm up will pretty much be adequate. And on a cold day like today, another trick that you can do is, instead of having your car in drive in a high gear, maybe put it in second, maybe put it in 2 on the gear shift selector, and drive it. Don't drive it at 60 miles an hour on the interstate like that. But if you're around town in a 40 mile an hour zone, put it in that second gear.
What will that do?
If you put it in there and not the whole trip, but maybe for 6-7 blocks, the engine revs higher, and of course the faster the engine revs, the more heat it's going to build up, and the quicker you're going to get heat coming out of your heater and your defroster. So just a little something.
Good little tip there.
Now let's talk about, maybe some folks have the hybrid vehicles. They might have some of the electric vehicles. How do they warm things up inside?
That's an awesome question.
I know a lot of people have those vehicles.
Yep, absolutely. They, for the most part, they rely, with the exception of like a Tesla, something that's fully electric. The hybrid vehicles rely on the same technology that a regular car does, and again, it relies on the gasoline engine to run and warm up the antifreeze. And so you'll notice, you're shaking your head. You must have a hybrid vehicle.
Mine says, it'll say engine is running due to colder temperatures.
Oh, it does.
So it's not running off the battery. It's running off the.
Exactly. Yeah. When you turn the heater on, and that's a trick that we use even in the summertime. Like, with the stuff that we do through AAA, we'll go to maybe jump start a Chevrolet Volt or a Prius or something. And of course, you jump start it. Well, the minute you take your foot off the gas, it quits running, and of course, then it's not going to start again. But if you turn the heater on, it turns the gas engine on, it leaves it run. So the computer knows, hey, it's cold out, I'm trying to get heat, I better run the gasoline engine. So that's how they work.
We learned something here again today. Ron, you're just the wellspring of information.
Yeah, some of it's even useful. And then, of course, there's the talk about the remote starts, which a lot of cars come with those now. If you're looking at having a remote start installed, a lot of times they can program the amount of time that the car runs. I would recommend 10 minutes. It's probably not a good idea to have your car, sitting outside running for longer than 10 minutes because you're not there.
Right.
What if the antifreeze is leaking out of it or the oil pressure dropped or something like that? I mean, the add-on ones don't always test for that kind of stuff. So just kind of keep that in mind if you have it done.
Now, if you don't have a vehicle that came with an electric start or automatic start or remote start, do you guys install those? Or you
We
know
do.
How to install
We
them?
do, yeah. And they've really come down in price. They're a lot easier to install than they used to be. We're not opening up wiring harnesses like we used to and stuff like that.
That'd be good.
Great Christmas gift.
Great Christmas gift.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've actually gifted one of those in the past. So, yeah.
And you were probably loved for that, or
yes,
hopefully.
Indeed. Yeah.
And then the last item that I get, and this kind of goes back to, I remember when I was a kid, and Dad would always, when it got cold, we had to get a bottle of gasoline antifreeze,
Right,
or get a bottle of heat,
the heat.
Put a bottle of heat in the gasoline and stuff like that. And I've been doing this for 30 years, and I have never in my life seen a frozen gas line. And the idea that if there's moisture in the gas, it'll freeze. Especially on today's cars, fuel-injected cars, if there's enough moisture in that gasoline to freeze, you're going to have even bigger problems. The car's not going to operate properly. It probably won't even run because there's too much moisture in the gas.
So if there's enough moisture to freeze a fuel line, you have more problems.
Bigger problems.
You knew it long before it got cold.
The heat is not going to fit.
No, I would save the coin in your pocket.
Stock guy, sell my heat stock ASAP. Okay, all right, there you go.
So and if for some reason, for peace of mind, you want to put something in there, or maybe you think you need it because you have an older car, look at the labeling. You want to put something in that has isopropyl alcohol.
Okay.
And not an ethanol or a methanol.
That was my next question, because what if you're using the ethanol in your vehicle?
The only alcohol that's going to suspend or disperse water is isopropyl.
Got it.
And so, and it's easily told. You look at the back; it's got a skull and crossbones on it, and it says, isopropyl alcohol, and it's probably about 2.5 to 3 times more expensive than the one that really wouldn't suspend moisture anyway. Okay. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not necessary. Save your money.
If I don't know anything about all of that, it's best I don't pour anything
exactly.
into my tank.
Just know that your engines...
if I don't know what any of those words mean, or I don't need to be pouring this into my car.
Just know that your engine's running, so your heat's on. That's all that matters.
And one final thing we want to end on here, if it's getting cold out, and if you have a battery in your vehicle, for how long before you need to replace a battery around here?
Great point, Lou. The average life of a battery in Des Moines, Iowa is 4 years and 2 months. So if your battery's 3 to 4 years old and you go out to start your car and it just doesn't quite seem to have the maybe just seems a little bit off, test it, or more importantly, just replace it. The cost of a battery, exactly, and the cost of batteries, minimal compared to the inconvenience when it doesn't start.
Right.
There you go. Any other questions here? You can just give Ron a call, 225-9090, or they could probably get a hold of you at AskRonTheCarGuy.
AskRonTheCarGuy.com. I'll answer all questions.
That works.
Oh.
It's 7:20.
Boy, did I just open up a can of worms.
I never thought I'd be right here.
It's going to be an interesting day for you, my
We'll be right back.
Oops.